And enjoying this lovely hobby of ours. It is 100% unmitigatedly my pleasure to have spent this time with you all over these last few seasons. And I look forward to what comes next, because officially and for the record, this, In the Shadow of the White City, season finale. And tonight's episode is entitled, The World as We Have Created It is a Process of Our Thinking. When we last left our coterie, our troop, our association, they'd retired for the day, Piscateers Lounge. There were several dozen issues spiraling from the fact that the preeminent chosen for the senator seat, Giacomo Undine, disappeared. There was foul play suspected. The charges were leveled at Naomi, and Cordia ascended to the senator's position. And while the motto of the village, Dalton, is a village working together, community working together, and the belief has always been all hands in, all voices matter, the senators and the advisors have a near unparalleled direct line to the oldest kindred in the entirety of Thornton Township. No one knows exactly how old Geneva actually is, only that there has always been Geneva in this area, even before Dalton was founded, even before Chicago expanded as far as it did. Some say that Geneva has been in the area since Fort Dearborn. Others chalk it up to gossip and wives' tales. The one thing that is definitive is that much like the dude, Geneva abides. The Dom of the Dalton Senate is a force of nature. There's never been a moment where Geneva directly assaulted, accosted, or otherwise terrorized any other being. They have existed through the ups, the downs, and all the many side steps of the village along the way to becoming what it is today. In light of its small size, in light of the many depredations they faced due to the downsizing of American-made brick and steel and what have you. However, due to their spirit and belief that every person, every kindred is a boon to the whole, and their belief in individual freedoms in support of the community, Dalton has more per capita business owners than anywhere else in the Midwest. Nearly every person has either a partnership, a proprietorship, a sole ownership of a company, usually more than one. And so, we keep those thoughts foremost in our mind and turn to our coterie, arising for the evening, having survived the previous dancing with destruction, being in a feeding pool of sharks and other apex predators. So, beginning alphabetically, we'll have everyone give a quick rouse roll and Dia Awakening resurrecting for the evening, everything that has transpired, where does that place them?
Apparently the night before is a bit rougher on them than they thought, and they wake up a bit hungrier than normal. So the first thing we are going to do is, of course, bathe for the evening. That's something they will not put off. So they take a quick clean and put on something casual but still stylish. Knot their hair up on top of their head, and they're still wearing black. And they come to the main floor of the Piscateers Lounge looking for everybody else, checking on the staff. This is the second night in a row that the Piscateers will probably not be open. They have too much going on for them to be open and running things, so she will not open for the night. Yeah, basically that, and then I'm probably going to try to find something or somebody from her to feed from and take care of that 1 point of extra hunger.
That being the case, and the demands of the beast somehow managing to circumvent other requests and demands of the smarter portion, the more conscious portion of themselves, would you be so kind? Go ahead and give me a hunting round.
One more time?
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and give me your roll? Do you remember what your hunting roll is?
I believe it is subterfuge and something else. I don't remember that one.
Okay, no worries. It is charisma plus subterfuge, and being in Nicole's chess and domain, your target number is only a 3.
Okay. Gotcha. Give me a second.
The Piscateers is a nation unto itself. It is a local legend. The mortals and kind believe that it is in fact just a fisher club. They believe that the decor on the main floor is all that there is to the Piscateers Lounge. However, those of knowledge, those who have been involved in the community and certain niche aspects of the community, realize that downstairs is in fact a national award winning, if there were awards for such things, fetish club. It is a place where everyone's ideal fantasy, or as close to it as one will ever come in the entirety of their lives, can be had. You can exchange nearly every kink with the willing, wanton, and ready, while maintaining a certain safety of public face versus private wants. The lounge being closed 2 days in a row, though the staff, due to the previously arranged payroll system, are still being paid. However, the payroll doesn't last long without much input, new influx of cash. However, all of those things aside, Nicole had taken pains and quite a few pleasures to properly train and educate the staff to provide. That also includes those few minority members who were part of both staffs, both the public face of the Piscateers Lounge as well as the private places of the Piscateers Lounge. As such, Dia finds herself in a out of the way corner downstairs area as one of the show women who came to assure that all of the devices and toys were properly maintained and cleaned. Even though they haven't been used, it's still no reason to break decorum and to stop such maintenance. After all, the Piscateers has never closed, so this is new territory. This is a brave new frontier of God knew who what. And as the beast made its demands of Dia's time, they find themselves wrapped in warm flesh, experiencing as close to a quiet pleasure as one can when suffering with a mountain of grief. And though the moment is sweet and tender and provides all that is in fact needed, there is still that wanting. There is still that space, that void within them that is separate from that ever hungry void that causes them to want to drain the entirety of the world. This void is far more personal and in the moment and for the foreseeable future. Far deeper, far darker, and far hungrier in need of being filled. Now, Frost, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll one, not quite for rolls, but for the hours that one slept upon making it back to the relative safety of the Piscateers Lounge?
How many?
1d10.
Okay. High school level. Sleep.
Bleary-eyed and internally far more cantankerous than he has been since his few tours of duty. Frost has waited and watched and checked windows and double-checked doors and listened as staff members came in using their key very close to ending their existence. The things that he witnessed the night before, they are literally not allowing him to sleep. They're not allowing him to close his eyes. In the presence and service to Seth, he has seen quite a few things from a distance. And it wasn't until last night that until he realized just how much Seth has kept from experiencing. The conversations had in the company of Rob and his associates is enough to cause the hairs on his head to stand on end, combined with the fact that he watched humans, living, breathing humans, being used as decanters. The patchwork quilt of veins pulled from their skin, worked into various shapes that would make modern sculptors envious. The fact that they were saddled with backpacks replenishing their drug of choice so that the monsters he was associating with could have the taste and the feel of their particular chemical demons. As he'd learned with Seth, there's nothing in the world that can affect them in terms of the chemicals absorbed. No whiskey, no scotch, no beer, nothing that they ingest that is not blood has any effect on them. The only way to have a moment of inebriation is either to drink themselves until they gorge on blood or to drink blood laced with levels high enough to cause an almost immediate overdosing in their victims. And last night, he watched it happen. They had veins as spigots. Their arteries were tapped. They were glazed. And when they began to falter or begin to waver, they were replaced by others. They were dressed in haute couture and nothing at all. And the monsters around you, even that was not enough. You witnessed one or more kindred taking a small little nibble, biting the tips of the vein and chewing it as one would bubblegum. It was enough to scar him. So no sleep. And then he sees Dia floating around the place like Miss Havisham in her wedding dress, though dressed far more stylishly and not gray-haired. There's a certain weight of loneliness, a certain weight of grief that hangs over Dia's shoulder.
You good, Dia?
Last night was a lot, even for one of my kind. Much has gone on, and I'm unsure how to proceed. Strangely, I never thought I'd be in this position. There are some things I was told last night and that I saw last night that had me worried. Did you perhaps notice a young woman holding a man in her arms towards the end of the party?
No, I don't think so.
Naomi seemed far too interested in her, and they disappeared shortly after. And there was a tall, strange, gangly man that Cyprian seemed fond of. He also disappeared not shortly after the young lady and Naomi. Strange. Anyway, how are you? What are you?
Yeah, I could be better, but I'm functional.
If you wish, the more human of our staff probably have made coffee and food for the evening.
I can go for a cup of coffee.
Fine. I will get somebody to bring you something. Have you seen Seth?
And as if he was a devil himself, once mentioned, Seth appears. He is still dressed much to impress, a slightly rumpled and wrinkled. You're not sure how is it possible that you are experiencing the effects of a hangover, but you very much are. It is as if even the beast itself inside your chest would much rather linger in bed with an ice pack and an IV of coffee.
Seth grumbles his way into the room. Okay, rule 1. We have to dim the lights in this bar. Rule 2. There has to be a bottle of the deep red waiting for me when I come out from the basement. Holy crap. I haven't felt like this since Bradish O'Brien's retirement party. Holy God. I do not miss this.
That's why I don't like alcohol. Wait.
It's not alcohol, Frost. You know
Yeah.
it's not alcohol. There's something out there that gets us. It's like It's like a Molly with a little bit of cocaine and just a touch of psilocybin.
Okay.
And it's not okay. There's no part of that that's okay. I thought I was beyond all this crap. Morning, Senator Dia. Or do you prefer Concordia? I should ask that.
Please don't. Just it's fine. We have come beyond all of these weird formalities. You have seen me at some of my worst and some of my best. So I do not wish to start our friendship, coterie-ship, whatever you call this, on such formal terms. Now, wait, I'm confused as to what you're talking about. Drugs? What manner of drug would affect us, such as you are showing? I mean, when I was alive, we did snuff and some other things, but I have never seen such an effect.
I received a call. I was on Chantry business. I received a call from the sheriff, and he had me go out and check out a scene. And it turns out it was Jack's final resting place. On the scene, I found this powder, pinkish in hue, very fine, very like powdery, like flour. And in handling it, because I am out of practice, I admit it was my own fault. I got trained in dealing with hazardous materials, and I just let it all go because I figured I'm a vampire now. What does it matter? It matters. It matters a lot. Just a small amount. When I was transferring the powder from the scene to some kind of containment. And yeah, it reminded me very quickly of my days with the drug enforcement squad in Chinatown in Boston. So, yeah, keep an eye out. If you see a slightly pink powder in any of your dealings, do not touch, do not inhale. Stay away. Frost, I don't know if it's going to affect you, but...
Well, I better not try and find out.
Yeah, I'd prefer you not find out. At least not when you're carrying the big guns. Or driving.
Especially when I'm carrying the big guns.
It took me forever to drive from the scene to here last night. I had to go into grandma mode to make it without getting arrested. Because the last thing I wanted was Dia making fun of me for the whole night for getting a DUI.
I would do no such thing.
You would tattoo it on my forehead and laugh every time you saw it. So, I guess that's the big question of the night. What we all need to talk about when Zach's able to crawl out of the basement. We'll get into it, but yes, I was the one that the sheriff sent to investigate the scene of Jack's passing. And it was a mess. I'm guessing it was an ambush job. Somebody wanted to shut Jack up. There were papers everywhere, some of them encoded. Like old bookmarker encoding.
So, I mean, good riddance, or are we going to find out who did this?
Well, I don't know the politics behind Jack. I mean, like I said, I was on Chantry business, so I missed a lot. But the investigation is going to be short, sweet, and probably tonight.
The thing is, Jack's untimely or timely death, depending on who you speak to, is what allowed me to ascend. So there is a bit of a problem with that whole situation. While I am thankful to have gotten my seat, at the same time, I am very suspicious as to how that happened. I don't want to point fingers, but this death seems awfully conveniently timed, don't you think?
Well, the evidence at the scene points in a few directions. I mean, knowing what I know now, your ascension might have been a reason, but the other evidence on the scene would point in a totally different direction. So, but the evidence does make it clear that nobody we know was probably anywhere near this. There was a fire, there was a gunfight, it was ugly. Jack did not go down fast. He put up a fight. So whoever took her right before the meeting and got messed up. So anybody who was at the meeting, at the Ascension, really can't be a suspect because they would show the pains and the aftermath of such a fight.
Are you sure?
They burnt down a house. They crashed a car. There were guns involved. No kindred walks away from that without a limp. It would take time and a serious amount of hunting to arrive to a Rose event and not look very disheveled.
Perhaps. But it occurs
Like someone wounded, like emotionally distraught, like the woman who left with someone who was destroyed physically.
That person, I vaguely, and admittedly, I was in a state when that drawing of attention happened. But in the company of a kind, I don't think a kind would have survived that fight. I don't think that any kindred would have chosen to bring a kind with them to that kind of fight unless they were a ghoul like Frost.
again, I point out Naomi seemed to have quite the interest in that young woman. And Naomi has been pinned with this, but Naomi has told me they did not do this.
Well, I don't know Jack's connection to Naomi very clearly, I'll admit, but evidence in the scene says that there were close ties. And the person that came in when I came in wouldn't have had the time. The kind certainly wouldn't have had the time. There was several hours, and that kind was messed up and much more recently than the events with Jack. So I think we can rule out at least the kind. The gangly redhead that was draped over, and he reversed to his notebook. What I vaguely remember writing down right before I managed to escape the main room was dark-skinned female under 5'6", hauling a kind around. Red hair, male, fairly tall. I don't think
That narrows it down to a few million people.
well, the kind is the important part. No mortal who had faced off against Jack, sustained that amount of damage, would have lived that long. They would have needed to go to a hospital, like serious medical attention, immediately after the fight.
There's not a way to like magically heal someone? That sounds really weird, but I am seriously asking that.
If the young woman had decided to heal the tall man through kindred means and made them a ghoul, they would have been in much better shape. But somebody who is that messed up could not have survived 2 hours.
Wait, are we talking about the same tall man? Because there was a large, tall, red-headed, gangly man with a strange face hanging out with Cyprian. He was one of us. Not of my clan, but one of us. That one, or you mean someone else?
My understanding is that the vamp that came in, and like I said, I was being cornered by the sheriff and the Dom at the moment. But it was a kindred coming in, hauling a kind of unknown origin. That is the rumor that I heard before.
It came from. It was from inside the party, not from outside the party. When they brought their injured package up to the main floor, so
that pretty much clear. That would have been impressive.
So highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
Still doable.
And
still possible.
I look around and I make sure that because unlike 99% of the people, I know bartenders have ears. So I make sure nobody who can actually hear us is very close.
No, they're all actually cleaning to justify them paid for the Piscateers not being open.
Right.
Paying attention. They actually are.
So at this point, I'm like, Dia, the truth is, this went down one of two ways. Either Naomi had to shut Jack up, or the Dom had to shut Jack up. Those are the only two suspects I was able to pull out. My interactions with the Dom, if I were still a human police officer, she'd definitely be getting a second interview. Naomi would be getting a second and a third interview.
The problem with that specific thing is, even if Jennifer had something to do with it at all, it would be hard to prove. They are very, very clever. I know because we dated for a long time.
And as if on cue, as the words "because we dated" escapes Dia, Zach, head filled with God knows what, but hair looking as if it is in fact a living, breathing hornet's nest. They rouse, mostly dressed, and make their way to the main floor.
And Zach looks like he has a bombshell to drop. He's trying to gather his senses. He tells the COterie about the visions he has, and describes them as feeling more akin to PTSD-like flashbacks than visions. He describes seeing Drew and Sasha wrestling against a mechanical force. Drew, both of them dressed very much unlike themselves. Then seeing two men dancing over the corpse of another, while other corpses appear to be impaled on branches with carvings on them. All the while, the whole thing seems to be to the tune of A Whiter Shade of Pale. Now this sounds completely insane, and Zach looks as if he's beginning to debate his own sanity, but then he describes the physical descriptions of the people from the vision that he doesn't know.
Do either of the people that are described sound familiar to anybody?
Rock shakes his head like, nah.
Seth is writing furiously in his notebook. It says, "Those descriptions don't match anybody we're dealing with right now." Mechanical horse, huh?
Motorcycle.
Or a car. Visions are vague. Zach, is there any clarity you got during the course of these visions?
You have to describe them.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to pull something up for this.
And going still, as only the dead can. Zach's mind turns inward. You all can see that the lights are on, but everyone at home is busy doing something private themselves.
Okay, here it is. He describes a gray-haired man and a young, dark-haired person dancing in a rain of blood. The body is that of a woman in a mafia getup, while the rain begins to resemble more watery, diluted blood. And the men that were impaled that he mentioned before had fuel gauges on their stomachs and something resembling needles vibrating. And again, he begins to look as though he's questioning his own sanity.
He walks towards the bar and asks the bartender to bring them a plate of food and a cup of coffee for Frost, just to give them kind of something to do and to take care of that anyway. And it gives them a little time to think. They are going over the descriptions of people in their head, trying to see if that makes any sense.
Okay. Being as would you be so kind to go ahead and roll either wits and insight or intelligence plus academics with any benefit for puzzles and the like being applicable?
Okay, is this for everyone?
Anyone who would like to, yes.
Okay.
Academics. What were the rules things?
Intelligence plus academics or wits plus insight. And which you're using, you can go ahead and note.
Okay.
So with everyone puzzling at Zach's vision, and the quiet falling over, go in alphabetical order in regards to what appears the depths of everyone's mentality when it comes to what Zach describes. Dia, entertainment stands out to you. Famous actors, famous actresses, those with any musical talent. It stands out because that was what was part of their passion during living, the study of actual entertainment, not just music, gifted though they were. The allure of jazz is playing what's between the notes. It's the skill of improvisation backed by the very real understanding of musical theory. Many jazz artists from Dia's living days could not academically explain what they understood, but when explaining in their vernacular, when explaining in with their perceptions, the very real musical theory behind what they were doing made itself more than aware. And so that instinctual knowledge, the academic knowledge known the instinctual level, is what always appealed to them. Victor Mature, the only time he played significantly in a loincloth as Samson, was in fact betrayed by Delilah, but only because he, in turn, betrayed his people, betrayed his God, and in the name of passion and love, turned a blind eye on his people. Something about that synchronicity of it all stands out and plays through Dia's mind. The message all but dancing on the tip of her tongue, on the tip of their tongue. Frost, you don't know much. There's not really much to stand out to way of thinking. There's no military tactic, there's no hunting down of a person, there's no guns, there's no ordnance, there's no violence except for the interplay of whoever Victor Mature and whoever Hedy Lamar was fighting over the Jetsons robot. The Jetsons robot, you mean Rosie the robot? And Seth. There's 2 warlocks that he is aware of in the area who have silvered white hair. Only one of which would be this, you could easily claim as a silver-haired fox. And without meaning to, he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror behind the bar. His own very thick and woolly dark hair. And the very real exertions needed to complete certain rituals, timing of them, the personal investment of energies, very much like a rain dance. And body staked by wood from an ash tree, that is dangerous knowledge entirely. You have an idea as to what that ritual that was being carried out was. You have an idea as to who those two men may be.
The woman dressed as a classic mafia kind of brings it home.
And Zach, as everyone's quiet, and Zach is able to turn an inward eye and analyze things from a distance, from a half a step of not actually having to be bombarded by these strange, illusory images assailing their sight, their hearing, and their sense of smell. The Whiter Shade of Pale was written because the words sounded good together, but the meaning has changed, evolved, and even the creator of the song has no definitive stance on what is the meaning that's derived from the public's consensus. There's some synchronicity in that, considering you all, as far as the village is concerned, are part of Concordia's cabinet. You all, whether you wish to or not, until you officially withdraw, are considered of a similar esteem as one would adjutants and secretaries to the president. Better yet, adjutants or secretaries to an actual senator from government. The meaning of your position most assuredly varies with who chooses to assail you. The value of it is what you make it. And you, being a dyed-in-the-wool child of an anarch, a dyed-in-the-wool, self-confessed anarch, though you've never had the opportunity of dealing with the Camarilla, you've never had the opportunity of dealing with the Sabbat. But Drew says that the only way to achieve personal freedom is to maintain one's personal freedom from each and every sect. Which, as you stand here amidst people who are willing to put their lives on the line for people who have offered you comfort, people who have offered you the wealth of their understanding, you kind of have to admit, even as they seek to not define themselves as a sect, the anarchs are very much just that.
And there's a certain part of the song that Zach can be heard silently chanting to himself. She said there is no reason and the truth is plain to see, but I wandered through my playing cards and I would not let her be. On the 16 bestial virgins who were leaving for the coast, and although my eyes were open, they just as well have been closed. His eyes wide with a dawning realization of just how much being kept away from so many aspects of the world of darkness has done him more harm than good. Connects the part, although my eyes were open, they just as well have been closed, to himself. she is the part he's hung up on.
Quite simply, like
kind of
being struck by lightning.
He's kind of connecting that to Sasha in a way, but also kind of to Drew.
Frost, your family, despite what you've told anyone else, in their homeland, their roots, they were sailors. At least you say sailors. Truth of the matter is, there were some mishmash of officially licensed poor fisher folk and actual full-fledged privateers. But as Zach sings about she said there is no reason. You think of a boat, you think of a ship, you think of an enterprise. That's what she typically means. You always named your boat, no matter how large, no matter how small, after your love. And most fisher folk, most pirates, captains, most owners of boats, men. And so naming your ship enterprise after your love typically always means a woman's name. The ship is always a she.
Okay. Any other? So I just think of a boat.
Yes.
Listen to the second stanza of the visions. Has his epiphany and then bends it for presentation. Zach, I can tell you from having looked over the scene, there were at least 2 assailants at the fall of Jack. And Jack was definitely a mafia type. Somebody was controlling, there was a Don, and Zach was doing the jobs. So I think your vision relates to the fall of Jack.
Oh, good to know I'm not going crazy after all.
I don't think you're going crazy. I think you were seeing the last minutes of Jack in that one. Now the corpses in the hanging trees, that one we may find out about later. But the silver-haired fox and the dark apprentice, that may be a lead to who hunted down Jack.
Hell.
Did Frost say anything about the name of the robot, or did he just keep that to himself?
Well, he'll say it to the group because you never know, it might jog someone's memory.
Wait, and the robot's name was Rosie?
Yes.
Rosie.
Oh god, Zach immediately connects that to the Rosie. As his eyes widen.
Not the clan of roses?
No. Zach's paramours are in this vision fighting over the Rosie robot. Rosie is Zach's club.
Oh no. Oh no. And he's running his hands through his hair again and starting to go into panic mode.
Zach, relax. Deep breath. You have us. Anything relating to the rose will be there.
Zach nods slowly.
And
Right.
there's also
I do trust you.
There's also the fact that in that vision, one of the characters you mentioned, I remember from entertainment, they only played one part in which they wore a loincloth. Samson to Delilah. A story of betrayal.
Betrayal. He starts kind of getting the pieces together based on what he knows about the Bible from his mortal days.
Yes, Samson betrays his people, and Delilah betrays Samson and cuts his hair, taking his strength.
It's a story of pride first, and then betrayal. Samson betrayed the people of Israel out of pride, and Delilah then betrays him to the Egyptians.
Yes, I remember. It was all so long ago, but I remember reading about it. But he does not reveal how he knows the story himself. Like, he doesn't go into greater detail.
Do we think you are Samson in this case? You said Drew and Sasha are fighting over the Rosie, but that leaves the third in that little triumvirate, which would be you.
Yes, but who have I betrayed, or would they feel that I've betrayed? Oh no. And then he considers everything he's done since he's met Dia. I think I may know why they might see me as a traitor.
And the bartender calls out, "All right, hot stuff coming through. Who has what? Here's some onion rings, some stuffed mushrooms. I wasn't sure whether you all wanted decaf or regular coffee, so I brought you both, plus a little carafe of espresso. And these are my favorite. They're zucchini bites, but they're not regular zucchini bites. They're stuffed with shrimp. It is absolutely to die for. I know, Dia, you're on a diet. You never eat, but..." And then she starts laying out a table of appetizers. Now, anyone who's worked, operated, or just in a industry setting know that the only time such a spread happens is to either impress the boss or because everything is going bad.
Darling, there's supposed to be a bottle of the deep red along with the food.
Oh, and she looks at Dia. Who said we'll get freebies without her? I'm sorry, Dia. I can't. Of course, you to stand up to Nicole when she gets back.
Darling, call the staff together. I think there's something I need to tell you all. But in the meantime, yes, please get him the bottle of red.
Oh, okay. Staff meeting? But most of the prep guys already left. No, okay, I'll get it. Don't worry. Don't yell at me. I know.
I'm not yelling,
Go.
please.
She disappears back behind the bar, opening up the latch to the storage space beneath, and disappears down.
Which means coffee decaf.
Okay, so it's just the
Cross
coterie.
mumbles to himself.
It's just the coterie right now again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's here where Zach continues what he was saying before. We have had dealings with the Camarilla. And as I have told you before, I and my paramours are not Camarilla. So they may see my associations as a betrayal.
Just your presence in Dalton?
No. More like that combined with our dealings in Milwaukee. Even after I explained as much as I could to them.
I can see that. Associating with me, associating with the Prince in Milwaukee, the Anarchs might be a little tense. But this is Dalton. I think
Sassy.
good.
As Zach draws the line and you begin putting the pieces together, the notable individuals that Zach has been associating with, the one thing that stands out above all else, it's not as if anyone has been reporting back to the Anarchs or telling them. So as long as that has not happened, there shouldn't be a reason for it.
What actions, what real actions they can point to have you committed that are Camarilla related versus Anarch related?
That is the part that I do not know.
Isn't Dalton, it would take an overt act in favor of the tower. And I can't think of anything you've done in that area. I can't think of anything that any of us have really done.
And Dia,
overtly tower.
as Seth says that there's nothing open.
I've already figured it out. Dia face palms and looks at Zach and then mouths performance. Performed in front of many, many people. And there was news coverage.
The party, of course. And he lets out a heavy sigh.
Yes, most of those at that party were indeed Camarilla or undecided at least, but mostly Camarilla.
I am such a fool.
So this is the party that keeps on giving.
The party in which we were in Gary? No, Milwaukee at the time, yes. Milwaukee. The one that was broken up by the hunters, the princess people. They came in and we snuck out that whole situation.
But it's the party that keeps on giving. Everything that happened in Milwaukee, everything that has kicked us in the teeth, leads back to the party you guys were tricked into throwing.
Attending, but yes.
Well, I'm really beginning to hate those people. But
See, this is why you just don't go to parties.
yeah, okay. Speaking of Milwaukee, we do have another item that is unique to us on the table concerning that. The prince's gift of a demons. Within the city. And I understand that, Dia, you weren't in a position to accept. Frost obviously couldn't accept, and Zach had other priorities. And, well, I stepped into the void, and I did it without consulting with any of you. And I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for accepting.
You've already explained yourself to us.
I just thought it bared saying again.
Which I do appreciate.
But I've looked at the demons being offered, and the opportunities abound. And as a demons, as a domain, I can set my rules within the rules of the Prince of Milwaukee. There's a small medical group there. There is a homeless population, and there is a viable and semi-vibrant kind population within the area, along with I don't know what you call it, an attraction for kind not of the neighborhood. There's a rather large park in the middle of it. And with all of our dealings here in Dalton, and all of our dealings, how they affect Chicago, having a domain outside of all of that, even though it's under a prince who is far more strict than I'm used to. But I think we can capitalize on that. And I would like to make an offer to everyone within the COterie that we not so much split up the space, but co-run the space. You've been trained as a senator by Nicole for God knows how long. Frost, obviously, well-trained in protection.
Yeah, but who the hell is gonna listen to me? Most of you guys see me as lesser.
Well, your job there wouldn't be to be listened to. Your job there would be to shoot people, which
I'm fine with.
I figured that would make you happy. But I would also like to expand the area to make it more vibrant. And that's where I hope Zach would come in to find, because I've looked into it. I have assessed the area. It's a lower middle class income, primarily displaced by gentrification, but houses, not apartments. Lots of churches, which was weird, but I think they could use a club. Just a nice little speakeasy kind of thing in the area where the local kind could congregate, which would make life easier for the kindred of the area. But a revenue source, because I can tell you with all of the work that the Dom is throwing at me right now, maintaining my lavish lifestyle is becoming a little problematic.
I will take a look at my resources when I get a chance to. Maybe help out a little. After all, I'm not seeing too many other options.
It's, like I said, it's just off of Walnut. It's a little area around Typhon Holler Park in Milwaukee. Plenty of feeding opportunities for those like me who are too lazy to hunt and those who aren't. I think if we can clean up the park, I think if we can get some control of the churches, and with the Salvation Army right there, there's plenty of feeding opportunities. I think we can draw a crowd. Zach. I think you will find that the broad spectrum of our kind will want to be there at times. And if we give them an outlet, a social outlet within the area, I think we can also improve life for the kind in the area, which would draw a better version of kind. And its obscure location also lends to secrecy. Not near the water, not near the business districts, not near the factory districts. I think we can do something with this as a group. And with Dia helping me out with all of her training, I think we can really do something with this area. And like I said, anything that furthers our power base.
So I'd basically be the sheriff, right?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, the rules of domain are obscure, but basically the prince makes a bunch of rules. A prince of an area makes a bunch of rules, and any rules you make in your own domain have to be inside of those rules. So he makes the big box.
Wait, wouldn't the king make all the rules?
What?
Wouldn't the king make all the rules, not the prince?
We don't do princes, or we don't do kings. We just do princes. Because there's no one person that rules an area large enough to be called a king. Because just like days of yore, your power only extends to how far you can flex. And your average single kindred can only flex for a single city. So, but the rules of the prince are fairly strict in Milwaukee. But we can make rules within the rules as long as they don't countermand what the prince wants to happen in the city. So, your job would be to enforce the rules that we as a group make.
Sounds fun.
Things like never kill kine in my domain. That would be a rule that we could make and still be within the rules of the Prince of Milwaukee. So if somebody comes and visits Zach's proverbial hypothetical bar, they could come and they could feed, but they wouldn't be allowed to kill. And if they killed, then we get to deal with the problem.
Ooh.
Which I would fully intend to do so.
Basically, I am just doing my job. I do during the day.
You would be doing your job, but you would have a recognized place of power within the domain. You wouldn't be just, hey, this is the human that hangs out with the crazy wizard detective. You would be the enforcer for the domain of the crazy wizard, who has hopefully the...
Like I said, sounds fun. I'm in.
And
I couldn't find a better red on the gifting section downstairs, Dia, but everybody's getting ready for the staff meeting in the kitchen. It's a Bordeaux, but we don't have a lot of people that drink Bordeaux, so I think that might be okay, right?
Should be fine. I took the bottle and examined it. Is it what Seth's asking for, basically?
Not specifically. As far as you're aware, you think that he's actually asking for, which without the fetish club being open is not that easy to obtain.
This
Sorry.
one brought me actual wine. I mean, I'm not beyond a little hair of the dog, but damn.
Dia smiles pleasantly at the girl. And thank you, darling. It's perfect. I will handle it from here. I'll be in there in a moment for the meeting.
Hey, Sasha, everybody wants to go. What the fuck is this about? And they start walking out because Jerry, who is the lead server upstairs, present, who actually worked downstairs occasionally, but she only ever cocktails, so she is aware that there is a more elite clientele downstairs, and she's angry enough that she's been pushing or attempting to push Nicole to get more shifts and work down there more, but Nicole's grooming her to be a dominatrix without her realizing it.
And I would know all that because I've watched. So, looking at the rest, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I need to handle this. And steps to stop everybody from leaving.
You handle your business.
Everyone is pulling up. What's up, Dia? What message from Nicole do you have to share with us? Because, you know, we're not making any money, so everybody who...
I need you to be quiet.
Really? You're not even a full-fledged manager. Come on
I
now.
am now the manager, because that is what I'm here to tell you all. Nicole,
Oh, shit.
unfortunately, is no more as... Nicole is dead. And left the club to me as her second in command. And now I am owner and manager of this club.
There's not much in the world that will typically change a deeply embedded domination. Shock to the system, trauma, stress, death. Those are all things that could challenge a deep dominate, a submerged directive, and a rationalization. Realizing that Nicole is dead, not just going on a visit or a trip, is enough of a shock. Now, dealing with one's own grief is one thing. Watching as depending on your perspective, 5 or 7 stages of grief hit people all at once is, in fact, very much a burden. You watch a certain faces immediately tear up, watch a certain others just crack, some just get angry enough and start looking for something to punch or break or someone to hit, others literally begin wailing. And it's not just the wailing at the death of Nicole. The shock to the system starts to contravene the initial delirium, watching a line in action, as well as the mental domination that Jennifer and Dwayne put in place to protect them from breaching the masquerade. And you see it happening. You see the stages, the effects of grief begin to take hold, and things that they had rationalized and responded to and built their perception of the future begin to pull away, to dissipate, to vanish. The ground on which they were standing on suddenly become sand pit.
I throw up awe just to get things kind of cohesive and back together again, realizing I have effed up.
You easily transfix them. You easily entrance them. And it's a deeper that needs repair. You have their attention. You have their focus. They're examining their memories of that night. The spilled red wine that was all over the floor was actually blood. The bear or wild boar, large hairy man, was actually in fact something that they can't rationalize. The speed and angelic transfixation that dawned around Nicole in those moments as she did her best to keep them safe and remove them as opportunity to attack. All of those moments erased and glossed over began to slowly filter back. It's like having one's sense of sight suddenly return to them, realizing that the world is a whole.
Once I see that I have all of their attention, okay, I know you're probably very much shaken to your core, but know that I will be here and do my absolute best to keep things running as Nicole would have had them. She trained me from the day she made me, so we will be fine. You all do wonderfully, and I am proud of you all. So that you can calm together, so that we can return to business as usual. Do you understand me?
They look to each other, and there's a silent understanding between them. Some truth, some course of action. You see a few nods, and people begin wiping their tears. Shock dissipates, and something else begins to fill that space.
Do I recognize what's taking over? Am I in danger?
What do you consider danger? Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus persuasion or wits plus insight? And that goes for anybody who's sitting at the table watching the if you want to assist Dia.
Yeah, I'll assist.
Okay, wits plus persuasion or insight.
Yep.
Okay. This and this.
Persuasion plus insight. Ooh, scary. Oh, wait.
Wits plus persuasion or wits plus insight.
Okay.
Yeah, my persuasion skill is better.
I did do that wrong. Whatever. Wait a second. I did do that roll wrong. Whoops.
Zach, what's your composure?
My composure? 3.
Oh, very nice. You are able to keep from screaming, "Oh my God, they're gonna fucking rat us out!" But just barely. What you see there is what you've seen on many a nights, many a fights, many a moments where people presented with information they pretended to go along with, and then they slightly turn or they look and make sure that no one's close enough, and then they sucker punch someone. These people know that there is a world that they should not be aware of. Dia? No, you are not in any immediate danger. They're perfectly okay with what you told them. What they do with that, however, not entirely sure. Frost, you've seen people like that. They're gonna rabbit. They're gonna go for the fence. Everybody runs, and they look like they're going to.
Decap, no checks. Sorry. Okay. How do we handle this?
No one knows what you know. How are you going to handle it?
Right. I'm gonna get up and. Well, if I start walking towards them, they might run. If I remember correctly, I'm in my
Nope.
my bounty hunter get up, or no?
No, you're at the Piscateers. You just got up from trying to sleep and couldn't nearly all day. Why would you sleep in?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I probably wouldn't have any bolos just in my pocket. Just to like flame wrap around their legs. I whisper to the table that the people are about to dash off.
If anybody has dominate, now would be a good time to use it.
Nope.
Would presents be useful? I'm guessing probably no.
You definitely could attract their attention.
If anybody looks like they're gonna fucking bounce out, like scream into the night, there are crazy vampires in this building. I corner them in cloud memory.
Okay, would entrancement be useful here?
Making them fixate on you.
If that keeps them from running.
All right, let her fly. Both of you will make your rolls.
Okay, hold on. I have to remember what I need to roll for entrancement.
And
Charisma plus presence.
cloud memory is free action.
Yeah.
Okay, what plus presence?
Charisma plus presence.
Ooh. Okay, is that
And-
difficulty or no?
No, I said difficulty. Unless, of course, you would like to risk frenzy.
Nothing.
And go ahead and roll charisma plus
Wait.
dominate. For me, Seth. It doesn't cost you anything in terms of rousing the blood. That's high. Their willpower doesn't cause them any immediate sense of threat or harm. You're not uber angelically threatening. You're not a shambling horror from the back of all imagination. But as they begin to turn and nodding, yeah, everything's great. Sure. Yeah, no worry. We got your back, Dia. Yeah, we'll be here for you. And suddenly from your shoulder, watch as if they look as if the sun is rising your shoulder. And suddenly Seth is there holding their focus or trying to push just to Seth. Would you be so kind, let's go ahead and roll your charisma dominate to see how effective and how many people we will hold under your sway, and what are you saying to them?
Because they're only kind. I'm dealing with kind, right?
You are dealing with kind in a stressful situation who just realized that vampires is not a specific vampire, but something angelic that Nicole had been masquerading as the opposite of this entire time. And the fact that there are monsters that's the size of bears that she fought off single-handedly.
Okay, so charisma plus my dominate.
Yes.
Oh, specialty is not very cool, but it works. I have one. I will burn willpower. I'm going to drop anybody who tries to get around me. I'm going to drop them hard. There we go. 4 successes.
So, Dia, you watch as Frost moves towards the door to bar anyone escaping. Seth is suddenly there, holding their attention. What is Seth is saying to?
And basically, I just wave over. I do the full Jedi mind trick. I use a sudden sound and a movement to distract them, and then I say, "It's all good. You don't need to think about any of that."
Between that very real mentalist trick and Zach suddenly becoming the most magnetic personality they have ever seen, the threat that actually is Frost in close quarter combat doesn't quite register yet, even as their survivor instinct says that there's something there that they should be worried about. And Dia, what does Nicole want to tell us? It's not like, wait, weren't we in the kitchen? Dia, come on with this meeting, man. What tell us?
Remembering what just happened, yeah, very clearly look for them. Nicole decided to open another Piscateers lounge down in Louisiana, where she is from, and she has tasked me with running the Piscateers here while she is gone. And she didn't give me a time when she will be back, but I am your new manager, and we will be reopening tomorrow night. You are all doing a wonderful job. Thank you for helping me.
Oh, sure thing. Nicole said that I might be up for a raise soon. Like, I would definitely could use more hours downstairs. Do you know how much they tip? Oh my God. And I didn't even get it to the VIP area down there. So, when can we talk about this? Okay. Well, boss lady, you need anything else tonight?
No, you've all been wonderful. Take the night off. You'll still be paid. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You gonna lock up?
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Everybody out. Let's go. Come on. Get the fuck out. The boss lady's here. Come on.
Once they have all gone, I look at Seth. Thank you so very much. I don't know what happened.
Mine are like pigeons. You never know what's going to make them flutter off.
Oh, nothing like the horrors that Frost witnessed or thought he had witnessed up until last night, where he got a chance to see up close and personal. That sort of thing would shatter most people minds. That sort of engagement in the party that you all took part of in the ascension of Dia would shatter most people's idea as to the reality of the world. You compound that by watching someone be eviscerated by werewolf begin to rapidly age in front of God, and that's what the staff experienced. And the thought of that, of having to be here, not be a supernatural, not be a kindred, not be one of the other many things that go by at night, is a scary thought. And everyone takes a look at Frost when thoughts settle into place. He literally exists in the darkest portions of the world. And there's only so much that Seth will be able to protect him from. There is an eventuality that seems predestined. It'd be easier for him if he was a coward, if he ran from a situation. But in nearly every situation you've been in with danger afoot, he has chosen to place his body in the way or his mind.
And that's why I always trust Frost.
What can I say? I'm a bit of a badass. Or a dumbass.
Or a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Seth has no problem trusting Frost in almost any situation and will warn Frost when a situation exceeds what a ghoul can handle. He has no problem differentiating that, and he's also very careful to make Frost aware. So if things go sideways, he makes sure that Frost gets out. He doesn't have a problem with a kind ghoul wanting to remain a kind ghoul. So he'll make sure that that continues to happen. Because Frost has always been at his back.
Yeah, but Frost don't want to be ghoul.
That's a conversation for another day.
Mm-hmm.
And with that thought sitting plainly there before everyone, the staff of filing out, you having the with and breath of the Piscateers completely to yourself, not just the privacy that they generate by keeping their distance, because up until this very moment, Dia was the occasional, the permanently vacationed right hand of leaving a hand. There weren't really anyone else. Dia was a fallback. Dia was there and had the respect and still has their respect. But it was Nicole's show. And as that settles in for Dia has to define what that means for themselves. Dia has to re-strengthen those ties that kept Nicole in place. Nicole, you bartered her social standing in Chicago, in Gary, and as far west as Joliet. And she had the support of other sensates from around the region. And she did all of this to depose Von Evan as the senator. It's the only time where Senator's seat had been taken without there being a death in COterie or any number of tragic instances. What that means, that success that Dia needs to define themselves as members of Dia's cabinet could assist them defining, especially as everyone takes a quick look at the clock over the bar and realize that you have less than 30 minutes to travel, 15 to arrive in time for lack of a better word and lack of better understanding of ailment. And with the fact that there's no way for them to leave without some judgment being passed, typically it's death. Typically, it's a life for a life. And we'll take a quick 10-minute, and I'll see you guys back here at 25 after. Everybody back?
I'm back. I've been talking conspiracy theories with everybody this whole time, so
That is a very healthy hobby. Just so that you guys are aware, the search function on the map actually does work. So if you type in the name of whatever you're looking for, it will take you right there. Such as, let's see, something that's pertinent to you all. Yeah, there's a lot. So, for instance, if you wanted to just find out which Baron of Riverdale area you're in, you can just type in Baron and click on whichever one you like, and it'll take you right to their particular barony. If you want to find, for instance, St. Mary Church, not St. Mary's, St. Mary, no S, or
if you want to find our demons, it's called the Associate.
You thought of a place for Zach's possible new club.
It's all good. Seth is young in Vampires. He's only 60 total. So
Zach's
he did
only
like 30 years in gaming. But Seth was a cop and an MP, so he knows things. And our Demis is in an area high traffic. It's got two major roads to the north and south, and one to the west, and a minor road to the east. So lots of kind will be able to find their way in. And like I said, a little propaganda, a little work, a bar in that area would make bank.
I'm thinking putting this theoretical club somewhere on the corner of West Cherry Street and North 26th.
Cherry and 26th?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Right across the street from the park? Nice. Good. Mm-hmm. Good idea.
Location.
You'd have to take out the house to the west or the east, but I'm fairly certain that Seth can have that arranged through the prince. Once you set it up, and the domain would be run by somebody who is tower friendly, but would be Anarch adjacent. So once you set up your club, I let you run it how you want to run it. And Seth is a hardcore Catholic, so St. Michael's over on Cherry and 24th is where he can often be found, because I'm fairly certain confession is going to be a big part of his life in the near and immediate future.
So Seth worships statues? Sorry.
Seth's from Boston. You can't get out of Boston without being a Catholic. That just that shit just happens.
One of my favorite things my dad says about Catholics is that they worship. That if you tell them that they worship statues, and then they'll always say no, they don't.
No, we worship saints. The Catholics are the closest thing to pagans in the Christian religion because they have God, they have Jesus, and then they have all these fucking saints.
Yeah, as far as that goes, the closest thing he has to rules are just common decency type things.
Loyalty. For what is? Oh.
All things being equal, we are just waiting for. And are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses we can work their arrival?
We just managed to get all the kind to not run away in terror, right?
Yes.
And are any of the, I don't know how to call them, the trained kind? Are they in the area? Because Seth is going to need to know who he can ask for a deep red and get an actual deep red.
Well, those who are in on the actual profitable side of the Piscateers, the fetish club downstairs, a few of those staff members actually are able to provide, but it is very much a hands-on service downstairs, which has not been open, being it's been closed for 2 days, so they haven't even come in.
What you're saying is we've been dealing with the kind that deal with the human kindred mix.
Yes.
I'm just wondering when we're going to meet the kind ghoul group that are used to dealing with kindred.
When the Piscateers opens in full, there was only one member present today to make sure that everything has been nice and remain nice and sanitary downstairs, because there's a little bit of the damp and dank, and so you want to make sure that all the toys, all the floggers, everything that could contact human surfaces is properly sanitized. She was downstairs.
So she skipped the meeting because she was already in the know.
Yes.
Okay, this bottle of wine is not going to get rid of this headache. Not all the Bordeaux and bourbon in the universe is going to deal with this. Seth is still hungover, I'm assuming.
Yes.
His beast and himself is still dealing with the after effects. The day after effects.
Yes.
Okay.
Would she have had enough time to recover in the amount of time that we've been upstairs to maybe donate to Seth, like just a little bit? Just so that his hunger is taken care of, or is that a no-go for the night?
Typically, that'd be a no-go for the night. That isn't a short, risky proposition. But, you can always hire and train.
You need to set up a secret language with your bartenders. Deep red used to mean our favored intake.
I know very well what it is. Now we'll go downstairs and see if maybe there might be a bottle laying around somewhere.
That would be amazingly awesome, because if we're going to continue this, I need to be on my best behavior and best output. I do not want to be cornered by the sheriff and the dom again while I'm in this condition.
Understandable, but I would also like to say, while I go look, you all need to decide what direction you wish me to take when it comes to Naomi. I have to help decide her fate this evening, and I don't know whether you were paying attention when I said she professes her innocence. Seth, you also know that you say it points in multiple different directions, that she might have been part of it, but she might not have been part of it because it points in multiple directions. So we need to know which direction I'm voting in this evening. And if I am not voting for her death, I need a reason and similar punishment that will seem fair without raising suspicion.
I, of course, provide a potential lead. Since when have visions ever been solid proof? Especially rather vague and, to be quite honest, trippy visions.
I think we're best served by not admitting your visions, despite the evidence that it exists to point in that direction. I've given physical and photographic evidence of the final demise. I think we should let that evidence speak for itself and then let that carry. Whatever visions you have, we should keep within the coterie.
Okay, so Dia
definitely get behind.
Dia heads downstairs, letting them discuss amongst themselves. And while they're downstairs, they're looking for this bottle, perhaps of saved blood, and making a few slight changes to their outfit to be more senatorial.
Zach should probably finish getting dressed.
Or do something with the hair, goddamn.
Yeah, definitely do something with the hair.
Did I say that out loud? I apologize.
Well, it's a matter of you saying it out loud versus Seth saying it out loud.
Seth wouldn't even fucking notice. Okay. So, Frost. Are you with me?
Yeah. Usually with you.
Okay. So, what's going to happen in the next hour or so is going to be brutal, ugly, and I want you to be aware of it. There may at some point be physical altercations. Basically, your job is to shoot the same people I shoot.
Okay, I thought you. That's fine. I thought you were going to. Don't want to know about your sex life.
No. I want you to focus.
Yeah.
Naomi, the person everybody else is talking about. She holds power like a senator in American politics. But she's about to go on trial. And trial within the Kindred are quick, brutal, and not covered by Fox News. If she's judged guilty, she probably will be sentenced to death tonight. I need you to make sure that nobody comes in side doors and clips us from behind.
Got it.
And if I start shooting, whatever I'm shooting at, I want you to
shoot at.
Exactly. So.
This ain't my first rodeo.
And the most important thing is that you and I are going to find a dark corner and hide in it. You're better at that hiding thing than I am. Always have been. Just like driving, god damn it. But we're going to let Dia and Zach handle our coterie's side of things. But if things go south, you and I are the muscle.
Yep.
Mainly you. So, just... We can expect the Dom and the Sheriff to show up. We can expect the other senators to show up. So, gun discipline, very important. Don't point at anybody until you're going to shoot them. And then shoot them a lot.
I know how this stuff works.
I know. But I haven't dragged you into this level of crap before, so trust me, you're going to get a bonus at the end of this.
Speaking of bonuses, as Dia is changing their ensemble, dressing more senatorial, nice, powerful, double-breasted or single-breasted ensemble with a very austere facade, she finds the bottle that she and Geneva, they and Geneva brought back from the Milwaukee Chantry, their last getaway. It's amazing how yesterday seemed like the future. That bottle, no fact, very much is reportedly pine blood. It was a splurge item. Looking at that bottle, it's hard to not think on that vacation. It's hard to not think on where they were in the mentally at that time, knowing that Nicole would be here, that there would be safety and sanctuary for them Piscateers ever that existed, be a place for them. Knowing that in the arms of Geneva that they were totally safe outside in the world. There was nothing that would assail them. And now, management, the training, the maintenance of the vendors, including what is clear, have not provided within the last 2 days. Because outside of the mystical and supernaturally gifted and talented abilities of the blocks, blood only lasts palatably 2 days, a week at the outside if it's properly sealed and done with all due care, but more than 2 days, and much like an open Coke on a hot day, it goes flat very quickly. Loses that ineffable quality that provides the true flavor of that connection with life. And without Nicole, and without being open, the Acampo delivery hasn't arrived. Without Nicole, the pipeline from Piscateers to Salacious, the Succubus, to Circus up in Milwaukee, to the Leannon Club in Indianapolis, that pipeline of information, that pipeline of vitae, that pipeline of connections to the blood trade as a whole is jeopardized. and then there's the village as a whole. And then there's the village as a whole. That in and of itself, there's a lot of work there to be done, a lot of things to be decided, starting with if push came to shove, and thinking pragmatically as only a child or scion of Nicole could, is there any use in attempting to spare Are you going to give the bottle to Seth to take the edge off, knowing that once that cork is popped, that mystical seal will allow that blood to begin to age as per normal?
Okay, so what happened was I did say what happened, and then the next thing I know, everything was silent. So I think I missed part of what you said to me after that. But do you felt like the bottle was too precious to them at the moment and put it back and went to look for something else for Seth?
No, you can always spare a bit of your personal day into a glass or from the vein. It'd be far more enjoyable from the vein.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that because they're not as hungry, and yeah, the bottle is just too precious to them at the moment. They've lost a lot already, and they don't want to lose anything else. So they are going to find a wine glass and decant some of their own blood into it, and just not tell the Seth where it's from. Bring it back up.
Okay, go ahead, roll. Make that rouse roll. That's happening. Zach, dressing for the evening, there's the very real fact you did not bring other accoutrements to dress as an upstanding member of the Senate. And last night's ensemble, while it would be simply to die for on a stage, be more than appreciable on a quiet date night, but standing before a village again, that ensemble may not be the absolute best policy.
Just trying to think of what else I could wear, like it would be appropriate for the occasion. Because most of his outfits tend to be rather casual, more rocker style. That wouldn't be appropriate for the occasion. However, there is one outfit he has, which is his suit accompanied with a necktie that's completely black. Black jacket, black shirt, black tie, black slacks, and black dress shoes.
Yes. Now the question beggars itself: is Zach going to drive to the Rosie to dress in that ensemble?
But is Zach planning on going to the Rosie, or is he planning on heading to this trial with Dia? Or is that kind of what you're asking?
That is the decision when it comes to that particular. They didn't have time to pack it. They didn't have time to bring it with them. Nothing says care and consideration. Worse things have happened, of course. You guys are all big, proud, happy kindred, having spent years or months or days as members of the undead community. also a little hurt. Never killed anybody. Oh, maybe. You'd have to ask Jack whether that's actually factual.
There's another option. Zach could always ask Dia if they might have something that would fit.
Which Zach is preparing himself to go down and ask him. As soon as he gets his hair in a presentable state and decides to definitely leave out his earrings and his usual makeup. When he finally gets his hair in a presentable state, he finally goes down to Dia and asks if he has anything that might fit him, that might be appropriate for where they're about to go. Type of attire I specifically don would be more appropriate for the circles I move in.
Come with me, and they go to their closet and open it and go towards the back of the closet for something they haven't worn in a while, but then also would not be something that Zach would swim in, because I think Dia is a good bit taller than Zach as far as pants and things go. But
Bless you.
how do you feel about the kilts?
Zach's eyes visibly white. Well, that depends on whether I'm meant to be a jester or someone to be taken seriously.
I suppose. And then they pull out a black birthday jacket. It would be a little big on Zach, but they could just push the sleeves up, making it stylish. Of course, black tie. They open up their tie drawer. There are myriad black ties. Plenty of button-down shirts that could be tucked into whatever. And a pair of oddly black capri pants, which would fall ankle length on Zach as far as the height goes. So they're kind of like scrunched, stretchy, but perfectly black, so they would fit.
Yeah, that's what's up, guys. Why, thank you. I'm not certain any of my attire, as I said before, I'm not certain any of my attires would be suitable.
It looks better on you than it did me anyway, so keep it.
It is only as the ensemble is selected and gifted that another truth that only the two members of the Clan of the Road would recognize. While most sensates have no problem in dressing or attiring someone else, giving away something from their personal collections is usually a sign of some trust, of some value of that person. Both Dia and Zach would remember their sires instead of giving pieces or cherished items, going on shopping trips instead, finding tailors and stores that were still late, or even having tailors and seamstresses make home visits. But the gifting of clothing, the gifting of an ensemble, and then both of them think back to what happened with Zul and Segundus. Or Zuli opened their wardrobe and gifted them insomnious. Interesting. Moments later, everyone's upstairs. Seth, Dia arrives with a martini glass filled with the good stuff. It wafting of so very much, so that much needed back rub or head scratch when you've been driven to the razor's edge of insanity. It is that hair of the dog. It is that big, greasy slice of pizza that is as wide as your head that hits the spot, that fills you and washes away most of the alcohol. It is heaven's grace in a glass.
Seth takes it in and feels his beast recede. His beast headache, at least, recede. And sighs in relief.
Would you be so kind as to wits and for Seth?
Wits and what?
Occult. As the good, thick, filling scent of the glass's content wash over Seth's tongue. It is absolute best bagged blood he has ever had the opportunity of ingesting. It's thick and rich and filling. It fills him with a sense that everything that is wrong does not matter and will. It is the end of watch. No more manning the ramparts or doing what is required to keep things safe. It is divine. There's, as much as Seth attempts to eat, the truth of the matter is, when divesting himself of blood, taking in the sacrament, there is, even in the neutered, fractionated dross and dreg that he consumes on a regular basis, there is a satiation that is more functory. In fact, this, however, is the antithesis to that. It is better than any blood that he's ever consumed. And it brings a tear to his eye that very soon he, in fact, will ingesting the lowest common denominator.
Seth realizes that he feels a release of the beast in their combined hangover. He didn't have real hunger, but the effects of the powder from the previous week had been beating him about the head and shoulders. And feeling that relief, it makes him very happy.
Dia watches Seth closely to kind of like, did I get away with it kind of thing? Like they're watching them very closely and they can't help but ask. It's not more to your liking than the Bordeaux.
I needed that so bad. I needed a real tough sentence so badly. It definitely hit the spot. I think I'm going to be a much better.
While that's happening, suits up. He's Batman.
I'm ready to serve you, Dia, in what's coming in the next hour.
And one detail they will notice about Zach is that his hair is styled a little differently than normal. While it is very smoothed out, something they will notice is a very, very short ponytail on the back of his head. Like, his hair was just barely long enough to even do that. But it may be short, but it's also, in its way, a little elegant and stylish. Even though it's being held by just a simple black hair tie.
Steph has unexpectedly been attacked by roses, as you can see.
I know. Oh, Dia's part is obvious, but what about...
Storyteller, aren't we like, did that make like a bond between us, something like that?
Very
I'm
much.
laughing.
Very much so. There is each clan, each bloodline, each minor microcosm of the kindred community. There are certain small rituals, certain small details, certain small facets that convey a message that mostly they truly understand the weight of. Gifting an item from ensemble's collection style is one of those for the senseis. Senseis won't accept such a thing from most, because after all, you may have a few nice pieces. However, your style is definitely not mine. It is the greatest of insult to give someone something purposefully that is distasteful, that is purposely unstylish. 2, finding someone worthy of your own style and not simply shopping, gifted them an item, an ensemble, a choice of things, collections, is trusting that they have the wherewithal and style to uphold their end bargain. They are worthy of that opulence, of that halt. And that's what Dia and Zach just allowed them to share. So moments later, you all find yourself at Secrets, which is one of the literal open secrets of Dalton. While the Adonis, and formerly the Queen of Spades, and the upcoming Harmony are all well-known places that are either full-fledged Elysiums or pseudo, and are places of kindred power. Secrets, however, as the name suggests, is neither a fetish club or alternative club. It is simply welcoming of all kinds, meaning on the average night, it is the first drink for many or last drink of the night, because all are welcome and they are open until 5 a.m. Secrets is also fully kindred staff. Fully kindred. It is everyone's responsibility to keep mortal breathing individuals out. So, to foster that, the front of Secrets looks deplorable. It is a function of willpower for Zach and Dia to not retch in their own mouths looking at the space. It looks as if someone blew up a good bar, burned pieces, and then organize them into a facsimile. The entryway is lined with jagged pieces of polished metal that are polished to such a high gloss and sheen. They are reflective. They are virtually stainless steel mirrors. The entryway also has several blasphemous pieces of Christian art. There are in the floor, covered by the epoxy topping, are millions of grains of rice and pennies underneath the floor. There are in the murals and around the wall with the borderline pornographic Christian art are pictures of white wolves and sheep and all manner of ghost-like creatures. And the space smells of the most delicious garlic bread or garlic crusted pizza. Once making it past the entryway, the space is laid out like a review. There's a central stage that has a catwalk which stops roughly 15 feet from the front, to which down there are 2 steps to the main floor, and gathered around the stage area are the ringside seats where you can look up the performer's pant leg if you so chose. Be far too close to performance to truly accept the magic that will be happening. In the various seats around the stage are the senators and the advisors. And sitting behind them at the various club tables and bankheads are their retainers, their staff, cabinet. And behind them, along various places of the world, there's very seldom seen together agents of Advisor Mitchell. These men and women look exactly like what they are designed to end things. A few of them bear clear scars and clear animalistic features, but their goal in life, or in the facsimile that you all exist in, is to end things. They are Mr. Mitchell's personal curious that he seldom aligns at one time. When he does, there's typically one outcome for all, not them. Permanent, complete, and total death. And as Dia, Zach, Frost, and Seth enter into secrets, preparing to decide the fate of Naomi, she exits onto the stage, walking side by side with Geneva, and says, "Good evening, everyone. Thank you." Arriving promptly, we have quite a lot to address. First, once more, for our edification, for the record, I want to thank you all for a lovely session, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Night. Hmm.